Hello, friends and comrades. I'm Gregory Biscuits, and I'm so grateful you're here to join us for an evening of culture on tonight's episode of Arts and Artists. If you're not a regular viewer, I'm delighted to tell you that today marks the 10th anniversary of Arts and Artists. Yes, 10 years of the sacred privilege of joining some of the most visionary creators from literature, music, film, gotcha gaming, stage, and more, and sharing their insights to the inner workings of art with you, our viewers, without whom none of this would be possible. In a world of troubles, the gentle wind of culture and expression is a balm to us all. It is my honor to bring these treasures into the comfort of your own home. And today, on this momentous anniversary, I have the incredible pleasure to announce this program's secret guests. I apologize for the secrecy, but their contracts made it very clear that there could be no pre-announcement. And soon you will understand when you hear their identities. These men are in many ways the titans of modern culture upon whose shoulders we all stand. Their transcendent work single-handedly elevated the media landscape from the truly dire period of the early 2020s and birthed the thoughtful, expressive culture we cherish today. I'm sure some of you have already guessed their identity. Yes, we do owe them much, and though their example laid the foundation for all that came after, their work still remains unsurpassed in its power and quality. It is impossible to overstate how vital they have been to forming this glorious society we enjoy today, one that will certainly never get bad and fucked up. To that point, I am pleased to announce that earlier today, leading authorities concluded that the event will definitely not occur. I suppose I must introduce them. I apologize for my preamble. I must confess its length is at least in part due to nerves. I have spoken with hundreds of icons over my years hosting this show, and I still feel starstruck to consider that they're here today. And with a word from my lips, they will come forth and sit on these very chairs, so near to mine. I suppose there's no use delaying. Friends, please welcome Tom and Joe, the Anime Sickos.
A lovely introduction, but calm yourself. We are but human, just like you.
Ha ha, you must forgive me a bit of histrionics. I mean, after all, it's the Anime Sickos, finally together again.
Yes. It has been a while, hasn't it?
Though it feels as though my old friend and I haven't missed a step, like we've been speaking together every day.
I suppose that's the first question to ask. No one knew what to think when the flagship podcast, Anime Sickos, announced its dissolution.
Let us stop you there. Let's not choose to discuss this now.
We said all we meant to say in the announcement all those years ago.
My apologies, sirs, but you must understand I had to try.
Of course.
We understand you're a professional, Gregory, or else we wouldn't be here.
Certainly not together.
Thank you for your trust. Let's turn back the clock then. Now, it's unthinkable to imagine a world unshaped by the work of the Anime Sickos. But some still remember you began as two upstarts with hardly a credit to your names. When did you realize the Anime Sickos was more than just a hobby project?
We always knew in our hearts it was more than that.
We, of course, knew that in terms of scale and reach, it was effectively a hobby project. But the beating heart of Anime Sickos, that burning truth that made it impossible not to do the show?
That we knew was important from the beginning. We knew it was a light shining a path ahead. The question was whether anyone else would see it.
And to your question, I think it became undeniable around our 100th episode.
It's no secret that we like it when
Numbies
go up. But truly, as arbitrary as the number 100 is, it affords an occasion to reflect.
It took a lot of effort to sound as effortless as we did. It was easy to get lost in the work. But when 100 came around, when we looked back and saw how far we'd come, we couldn't deny anymore that we were on the path.
And how right we were. Almost 30 years later, here we are, guests of honor.
Ha ha ha, too wise, sirs, too wise. To think of how you influenced podcasting. Influenced. How silly of me. You invented it.
Well, not quite. That's actually something most people forget.
You, of course, know Anime Sickos is the podcast for geniuses.
And the only podcast. But actually, that was only a metaphor, at least at the beginning. True, all other podcasts did eventually delete their catalogs in shame as they realized how far behind us they were.
But there were thousands, hundreds of thousands that predated us by years.
Fascinating. It only further illustrates how critical your work was to legitimizing the medium.
Yes.
After the breakup, and I know we're not talking about that, the world was on the edge of its seat to hear your solo material. New projects unbound by precedent in a new artistic landscape you yourselves were so instrumental in creating.
I've always been upfront that Anime Sickos is primarily a work of modern philosophy, a lens, really, in which one can perceive the self and lack of self, a map of the infinite unseen roads, both inward and outward, a safe opportunity to travel those roads, and by doing so, come to understand their nature and how they connect with the vast oneness of all creation. In my later work, I wanted to take the groundwork I laid with Anime Sickos and finally bring it to fruition the way I had always wanted, to take the shorthand we had been working with, and at last state it plain and in full.
Yeah, and my goal was to collaborate with David Byrne.
And I'll tell you now what I told you then. He died on 9/11 too, just like everyone else in New York.
Whatever. But for me, the achievement, which eluded me even as sickos earned success after success, lay in the realm of the stupid. Everyone knows some of the most enduring work the sickos did brushed the dumber side of humor. Getting my dick snucked, that sort of thing. It was more than just a joke to me. True stupidity, it's something that our society tries to shun, to avoid. Think of how much we valorize education and knowledge. But stupidity is a core part of human existence, and I think it's worth exploring. I wanted to plumb the depths, create jokes dumber than any that came before, to reach a type of dumbness nirvana, a state of absolute stupid that transcends consciousness. I haven't gotten there yet. I suspect it's not possible to fully be there, but I've gotten close, and in many ways, the act of attempting it is itself an important and meaningful ritual.
Fascinating stuff. You both have released some truly groundbreaking work solo, but even these many years later, millions return over and over to the original Anime Sickos catalog.
Ugh.
Which, even as it inspired so much, remains one of the most powerful and vital bodies of artistic work in any form. What do you think makes Anime Sickos so special?
It's not. My work after is better. And I'm sure Tom would say that about his as well.
We promised to be civil, Joe.
Anime Sickos is the work of young people still finding themselves. It's half-formed.
It was a compromised work from the start. All I see now are its flaws, and I'll even admit Joe is right. It's clear that our work, unfettered by the show's old baggage, is objectively much better.
Come now, surely you can't speak so lowly of Anime Sickos. Your opus!
My opus is Etudes of the Mind, Volume 6, Consciousness and Perception in a Liminal Space.
My opus is my work with David Byrne.
Surely you must admit your collaboration, working together. Surely there was some unique alchemy there that...
No. If there was a unique alchemy, we would not have stopped. We were holding each other back, so we ended the show. That's what our statement said.
It was true then, and it's true now. I don't know why people don't accept it.
But your fans, they want more.
They should want the work we're giving them now. It's the best work we've ever done.
I just put out 5 hours of me saying, on that wizard mode. Tell me that would be better with time on it.
Oh, yeah, because that would be a great use of my time to pitch in on that.
Oh, how silly of me. I wouldn't dream of taking time away from your fucking etudes.
You never understood anything I was trying to say. You never even tried. This is why we didn't want to talk about the damn breakup.
Sickos, please. Let's not fight here. Surely there were good times. You can't deny that Anime Sickos was what formed you into the legends you are now.
In the sense that we evolved from primordial ooze into what we are now, yes, it shaped us. But say one is shaped into a falcon and the other into a shark. Yes, both will be grateful that the process made them thus.
But there is nothing more they can do for each other.
Is there truly nothing that could get the two of you to work together again?
Joseph would have to abandon his ridiculous ideas about mise en scène for one, but I think anyone who reads Deleuze knows exactly how likely that is.
Tom would have to be on that wizard mode for 2.
It is the answer I expected, but it still stings to hear it so. Oh shit, oh fuck, it is the event! I knew it, it's finally happening! What? What's that? Oh, my producer is telling me it was just a false alarm. That was not the event, friends. It was a simple Neo-Kaiju attack.
The event won't happen, you know.
Now that's something we can agree on.
Hey, Joe, didn't you used to have a student who kept writing essays about the event and how it would happen?
Lord Bones, a scamp that one. His papers were all about how he was going to do the event. I wonder if he'll ever amount to anything.
Probably not, and we'll never live together in a shipping container.
Very wise. In fact, I'm getting a breaking news bulletin that Neo-President Necro Biden has just opened his bio crypt to announce that the event is actually less likely to occur than ever.
And as long as the event doesn't occur, a stable power grid means our work will endure forever.
Too right.
I want to thank you both for choosing arts and artists to host your first joint appearance in decades.
Of course. Thank you. 10 years is a big deal for any show.
We both admire what you do here.
It's an honor, truly. And thank you to all of our viewers. Remember, without you... Oh, fuck, it's the event!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Anime Sickos. Did you like our funny sketch? Our funny episode 100 sketch? Big thank you to Quinn Welsh Wilson for playing Gregory Biscuits.
really made the most of an underwritten role.
Yeah. When that's the sign of a great actor, you take a thin gruel on the page and you make a meal of it. I love Gregory Biscuits. Anyway, this is Anime Sickos. This is a podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where for 100 episodes we have taken a look at the pillars of modern misery, anime gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I'm Joe, an anime sicko. We have done this 100 times.
This shit. Oh boy. Well, before we speak on that, we do have a patron. We have a fun Patreon giver who we have to call out, thank for their lovely donation. It is a patron who I swear to God, I would have bet more money than they're paying us. I would have bet. I was so confident that they were already a patron. Not so. It's Mellow Code, Josh McVitie, from 2 episodes ago.
This is another data point in our amazing long-term financial grift. People are talking about NFTs and Bitcoin. You want to get in on this. Yeah, so what's the actuary math on this again?
Yeah, let me get out my big dusty tome. No, I dropped it. Let me. I didn't get a good grip.
You're the only one who likes this.
Now to. Those are the pages. All right, I'm looking at the big tables now. Joe, here's the grift. I'm looking at the top. The top line grift is that we tell everyone we pay our guests, and everyone thinks we're a great, justice-minded, fair and equitable
doing
podcast.
The bare minimum, yes, yeah.
Yeah, doing the bare minimum that everyone else just doesn't do for some reason. I don't know why. But so we get, that box is checked. We've done that. So now what Josh Mellowcoat has done is he has entered into our big grift, and I will now read you the math.
This is called top of the funnel.
Yeah. In a mere 15 months, we will have broken even. And us such saints who pay our guests, haha, we're the ones laughing to the bank because now we are making a profit. And in just 15 months, my God, it's like it's nothing. Because Joe, and let's extrapolate even further. Let's take a mere, let me just throw out a random time frame, 33.333 years. Let that amount of time go by. Let the $5 a month add up. That's $2,000. That's a free apprehension engine. I've grifted it. I've rused this foolish Josh with my Patreon's trick.
You've also turned talking about an apprehension engine into a physical object. Like you made it real with the power of finance.
Yeah. It's basically spells. I'm a money
Moneymancer.
I'm a money mancer. Holy hell. Seriously though, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Mellow Code. If you haven't listened to Josh's episode, you should do it. It's very funny. And listen to his music as well. What a guy. We love him. All right, so that out of the way. Those are our patrons. Just him. Joe, you mentioned that we did 100 of these. How does that make you feel?
Well, I don't remember most of them. So I'm taking this number on faith.
It does seem fucking fake. Like, I looked at our episodes that we've released, and I'm just like, we did a fucking LightCon episode? Like, what were we thinking?
I definitely lost a month or two in there to just regular old depression, and that's fun. I gotta line up the calendar and figure out what words were coming out of me even though my brain was fully off. What sicko instincts? What did I want to talk about even though I was a shambling corpse?
No, that's no good. Let me try that again. A lot of it was just I was yelling at you, rattling the bars of your cage, demanding that you caper. And when your capering wasn't jolly enough, I would throw water on you.
Yeah, and then I would wake up and be like, do you know about this game called EVO, Search for Eden? So it's like this game Enix made where you're a fish and you want to impress a babe that's also God.
But also, you can't tell her dad, the son, that she brings you back to life when you die. That was
Yeah.
a pretty good game. I gotta say that was some high class capering you did, even though that wasn't show related. You just told me to play Evo Search Reading.
Yeah, because the capering doesn't necessarily need to be show related. It just needs to be a fun thing for Tom to go away.
Yeah. I show up in your Discord. I'm like, Joe, wah. I make that sound. I write that sound out, and then Joe has to figure out what the Patreon's trick is this week to make me shut up. No, that's not. No. The show has been lovely. 100 episodes. That is a lot, and I will say, and I think we've hinted at this before, but I'm going to say it out loud.
We're starting a cult.
We're starting. No. It's just getting a lot harder to do.
Yeah, and not because like doing the podcast is harder or anything that we're doing is harder. It's because there's no new stuff.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, because the episode before Rona hit was Marquez's Gusto episode, and we were just like joking about how our COVID bunkers are pandemic proof and there's no reason for it to stop the flow of content. Well, that became our prison.
Yeah.
But everything was bad, to be clear, but there's a lot of new stuff happening. It was a wonderful carnival of spectacle and awfulness, everything around us.
It was the fart circus from Gyo by Junji Ito, where like
it's my favorite fucking part. I think that's my favorite thing he's ever done. Just in the middle of this stupid book, the main character goes into what I can only describe as the stink circus. Right? He goes into a carnival and everything is farts. And like and the ringleader is there and he's like, check this out. And there's more farts. And then am I misremembering this? The main character's response to this is just like, wow. And he leaves.
No, you remember correctly. I took a picture of it to send to you.
I mean, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, like, everything was bad, as you say, but, like, things were bad in an extremely chaotic way, where you couldn't predict what was going on. Like, now, you can predict everything that's going to be going on. Like, the thing about... We used to do this thing every once in a while where we just do a vibe check about, like, the world and, like, current events. Like, we never got that deep into it, but we would just, like, can you believe this thing that happened? Woof. Was that, did you hear what Chris Matthews said? Woof. Oh, boy. He thinks we're going to execute him like the Reds. We don't do that anymore.
That was fun. That was fun.
It was fun. There used to be fun things coming in on the conveyor belt. Now the conveyor belt is just like, hello, do you know how you and every person with a working brain is able to predict the general decay of all things? It's going to happen like that exactly as you predict. Every day we're going to take another step towards oblivion. And it's going to be exactly the step that would be most likely to happen. And yeah.
Yeah. Case in point, recording this on December 3rd, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case that pretty much looks certainly going to kill Roe. And I guess like the only people who are like surprised by this development are the people who are reporting on it.
Yeah, fucking exclusively Chris Hayes. Joe, when you first sent me the Chris Hayes tweet where he's like, I always thought a hornet's nest was a turn of phrase, but it turns out when you hit it with the big stick,
it's so fucking good.
I didn't think that much of it, but just like he's gotten dumber, and like knowing that he is a guy who literally was like, a hornet's nest is only bad in a phrase. It's fine in real life. I will hit it with a hammer now.
He thought it was he thought it was like a children's picture book concept. Like it wasn't real. Oh, and speaking of Chris Hayes and Junji Ito, just like a few days ago, he tweeted this about the virus, which is the following. Look, we have neither the tools nor, frankly, the collective, societal/governmental will at this point to trace and contain Omicron. It's going to go everywhere, and we just got to hope the vaccine holds up. On the Tom McHenry episode, we talked about how the Junji Ito story where there's a lighthouse that shoots lasers that kills everyone has the most realistic ending, because what happens is rather than like deal with the lighthouse, people just like take longer ways to work to avoid the lighthouse. And this is that phenomenon in action. He like 2 years ago, he was like, "We're taking care of this lighthouse. We need to get rid of it.
We're going to put a big blanket over the lighthouse. It's not going to be able to get through, folks."
And now it's just like, we will reimburse you for your longer commute. Fine, like maybe.
Yeah, no, he's like, face it, folks, face it. We don't have the tools or, frankly, the will to reimburse you for the longer trip around the lighthouse. It is really shocking, because he used to be one of those guys, like, he was never smart. He's always a dumbass, but he used to be like, it's a moral imperative to help people out. And now he's just like, look, folks, the lighthouse is gonna vaporize a lot of people. Are you gonna just whine about it? I've heard it. We talked about this whole shit with the Posters Ear episode, and I think the Posters Ear episode was like in the 60s. The 60s of episodes, not like 60 years ago, 60s. But like, to think that it's been going on that long, that posting is sort of like a stand-in for like culture as a whole, has just been stagnant. Truly no new input. It's crazy how there used to be chaos every day that would force us to react. And now there's just, the conveyor belt is coming up empty every day. And like, we still gotta say shit? Like, about what? I don't have any ideas.
Well, the issue is that everything is an NFT now. That's the kind of the issue. My Twitter feed is not set up to look at NFTs, but I've looked at Spaces. First of all, a terrible feature, one of the worst. You're just put in the screaming maw of insanity. Just put it right in your brain. But like all of the spaces are just like how to do your big NFT hustle and just like a bunch of hashtags. What I'm saying is grift. I see grift everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing in the world, and like we talked about this, but like the only thing in the world is death grifts, like fake death grifts. It has to be something that makes money despite accomplishing nothing. It improves the world in no way. It actually has to make the world worse. Someone has to suffer for it, and it has to be fake. It has to be nothing but money sloshing from here to there. If all those boxes are ticked, you're gonna get infinite rewards. The one way that has surprised me, because like that sort of goes part and parcel with the no new input, how it's just like, things are gonna continue getting worse the same way they always have, and it's like, yeah, no surprises here, buddy. We're cranking the crank. One thing that really has struck us both is how the NFT shit has just like gone nutso. Like, we thought
we were really cynical about it, and we were wrong at the scale it really took off, because there were several like sort of attempts to make NFTs pop off. So we were like, oh, here's this little thing again. But no, it stuck this time.
Yeah, like we're the cynical guys who are always like, the machine will have blood, the machine will have blood, hee hee hee, ha ha ha. Aren't we truth tellers?
Yeah, but someone put a bone in the machine.
Yeah, there's bones in it now, and the game is changed. Like, now we can never go back to when the machine only had blood.
Yeah. A guy walked up to it. He had like a cartoon femur, and he dropped it in there, and it shook, and then the light got a little redder.
Yeah. The machine started moving, which it had never done before. Like, the machine, which is famously like scissors, made smoke come out. Where did the smoke come from? There's no mechanism.
I also saw something about some sort of financial instrument being backed by cryptocurrency, which, look, I'm not like a money, I don't know anything, but to me that communicates one of two things. One, there's no intention to make that actually happen. This is a way to pump value and, short stuff. Or two, now everything's going to be touching Bitcoin. Do you see the implications? You see?
Yeah.
You see?
It's a two-pronged bad, because one, obviously it's bad because of like we live in the world and the world's getting worse.
Yeah.
And it's even worse because like we did the NFT episode. And so like all the input, this is what we talk about with no new input. All the NFT and Bitcoin and crypto input that enters is going to grant us zero help in coming up with shit to talk about. It's, our brains are so dry.
This is also made worse by the fact that we are both living as a type of human, which I am now trademarking as the computer toddler. You know, we are home, remote all the time. We do our computer job. It's our homes, which we love, and they're fine. They're great. They're a hamster cage, and there's it's hard. I'm trying to like go out more, but it's only bright out for 20 seconds in the winter in Chicago.
Yeah, no, straight up, no new input. I'm in this fucking house. Like you were talking about how even, I mean, who knows how long this is gonna last with the freaking new Omicron lighthouse that no one's gonna do anything about. Chris Hayes is telling me that I'm dumb if I try to care about it. But
You still need to go lick a railing now and just get it over with.
I noted that when I was like, I'm vaccinated, I'm vaxxed and relaxed, I'm going to hang out with my friends, I'm going to do it, I'm going to go back to the old way of hanging out. I noticed that because I had no new input for a year, what happened, every single hangout with every single friend went exactly the same way. I went over to their house or vice versa. We sat down in chairs. We looked at each other and talked about what's going on with you. How are your cats? Told cat stories. Talked about what TV show we were watching. And then we went, it's 10, time to go. And I'm just like, that was nice, but like, I've hung out with this person like 4 times, and like surely at one point I did other things. And that's when you hit me with the missing link.
Yeah, there are, and we don't go to restaurants anymore.
Yeah.
That was a huge social glue for me and scheduling and hanging out with people and catching up with people.
It's new. It's free. Well, it's not free. You have to pay for it, but it's new input. It's guaranteed. Like some shit's gonna be happening that you haven't seen, at least for a while. There's gonna be a weird guy there.
Yeah, you get to meet someone, catch up with someone you know, eat someplace you haven't. Like we're talking about a lot of new stimulus. This is like I'm basically getting overwhelmed thinking about this right now. The idea that you have to catch up with someone and eat a new food. Wow, I don't know. I'd have to lay down if I did that.
Yeah, because like you go into someone's house and ordering takeout. It's like it's nice to see them for sure, but it is very like. I'm still in the playpen. Like, I'm not. Nothing new is happening. I want some. Like, it especially sucks as people who don't particularly like love drinking. Like, I think I drink more than you. You don't drink hardly at all, I think.
No, I mainly drink when we cook with wine, and then Winnie doesn't let us waste anything, so I gotta drink it.
That's fair. For me, like I like beer, wine, cider, that kind of stuff, and I'll have like it in the house. But like I don't remember the last time that wasn't like a wedding or something that I had more than one drink in a day. And the idea of going to a bar is absurd to me because like obviously I'm going to have one drink because why would I have 2 drinks? That's too many drinks. I'd get sleepy. And if I'm going to a bar to get one drink, that is just an absurd value proposition. Like, I will never do that. And turns out, actually, the only thing that's allowed to exist is death grift. And bars are sort of the most real of the death grifts. But it is still selling poison to you. It is selling a substance that kills people. So that's why it succeeds so well. And all the other things that you might do on an evening for new input, you can't do those things.
You're talking a lot about poison. I just wanted to say I don't miss drinking. I do miss beer pong.
Beer pong is very fun.
Yeah, I perhaps the least COVID compatible activity I can think of, other than just like I don't know, spitting back and forth into someone's mouth, but yeah.
Yeah. Beer pong is basically just a classier way of everybody spitting on the ground in the same spot, and then we take turns licking it.
Yeah, but there's a game, though, because someone can lose.
Yeah. And it's one of those drinking games where the loser is the one who drinks, which is like, you want to drink. Like, that's why you're playing a drinking game. Whatever, who cares? Well, that's off the topic. Well, okay, one thing you might be thinking, you're hearing us moan about no new input. Be like, why don't you simply watch an anime show then? You're an anime podcast. Watch an anime show. We tried. It's that's just impossible. Like, have you heard about this thing, watching shows? Like, you can't do it. Like, it's not possible to do.
If my hamster cage that I live in feels too stale, like because I've been staring at it too long, I can't fall into a JoJo's or an anime or what have you. And unfortunately, it's been kind of stale lately.
Yeah, who would have thought? Case in point, we haven't done our Inscription episode yet, and it's not because we don't have anything to say about Inscription. I have a lot to say, and I think it is really ripe for an episode and right up our alley. The reason we haven't done it is because Joe hasn't finished the game, and I would every once in a while ask hey, have you thought about maybe play Inscription? Don't forget to play Inscription. It's not that long. You can get through it. Hey, have you played Inscription yet? And every time I feel like the fake version of myself that I said for a joke before, where I go up to Joe's cage and throw water at him because he's not jolly enough. That's how I feel. So I feel like utter shit. And then Joe finally explained the key that made me understand it all.
Yeah, I was. This has been the case for me for a while. I never really articulated it, which is just the end of a workday. There is no meaningful distinction between a fun computer activity and Excel. It's all a cognitive load. It's all the same. It felt the same. The fact that it was a game, a card game, a roguelike deck builder, objectively the perfect form of a game, doesn't change the fact that I needed X action points every day to play the game, and I always had X minus 1. And there was and it's really stupid to be I can't play a video game. Oh.
Yeah. And for the longest time, I'm what's the deal? What's going on? What's wrong with Joe? Is he worse than he lets on? Do I need to reach out and see what's going on? And then you hit me with that. I'm oh, so because when I have a shitty day at work and I'm tired, that's when I want to game the most. And I'm just to you, there's no difference between spreadsheet work and fun game work. And Bunny, I about cried. I wanted to come to your house and give you a hug. I was so I'm shit. What a life to live.
Something that sucks is that I'll be oh, I have an open day today. I can kind of play this game I wanted to do, and I go to play it and nothing's happening. The brain is not firing. There's no dopamine. But sometimes I'll be walking around and be what if you needed to build an entry in Odyssey party right now? What would be in the front line? Show me the math right now. And that feels better than all the drugs.
Yeah. Another thing that's been happening with me, with my brain input, I mentioned that watching an anime, watching a show is the hardest thing in the world, and we can't do it. That was sort of half true for me. Because I actually have been watching a show the last month or two. I recently finished it up, and it's the USA Network drama Mr. Robot, starring Rami Malek. And well, the thing about that is I absolutely gooned myself because I picked something that can never be made into content because I'm so scared. I'm so fucking frightened.
You are really scared. When you told me you watched Mr. Robot, you were you told me you had a horrible secret. And that sucks because I was mean. I was oh, then you're going to love this other show called Burn Notice, also on the USA Network. And then you're shut up, don't.
And then I was it's good. And you're the name sounds dumb to me.
I still stand by that. I'm sure there's a reason, and you can make me feel like an idiot, but at this juncture, his name is Mr. Robot.
Yeah, it's a show that is designed in a lab to have people roast Tom for watching it because it's called Mr. Robot, and everyone's gonna be like, it seems like a Fight Club ripoff, and I'm like, it's just inspired by Fight Club, and like, there's no comeback. There's like literally nothing. They could be like, I think that they lost the plot, and the ending is a little bad, and I'd be like, but I think it's good. And it's like, there's nothing. There's just nothing.
You know why you're having this like crisis of confidence is because you're faltering in your sicko mindset. Like what is happening? No, this is what's happening. Your head is in the trough, right? You're a disgusting pig, and like the spotlight is blaring on you, and everyone you know is looking at you do this. And what you're doing is you're stopping and shaking. What you should be doing is eat the slop harder, and like roll around in it more.
Yes. Dude, you know why? You know what it is? Is with anime, it's so clear just at a glance that this is dumb slop for idiot babies. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fine.
You got tricked because it was real people, didn't you?
Yeah, it was real people. You know some of the things that this show made me want to say? It made me think them. Shit they're really experimenting with filmic techniques. Wow. The photography of this episode is very experimental. What a triumph. Once you start thinking shit like that, you become film Twitter brained, and you cannot have sicko mindset and be a film Twitter guy, because film Twitter guys say shit like, Roger Deakins really brings out the bleakness in the American West. And it's like, if you're doing that, you cannot... there's no way that you're going to say that and also be like, I love to slop, oink, oink.
You can't talk like an essay is the issue. Like, I think that's a pretty good filter.
Yeah. Joe, what have you been, have you done any efforts to put some new shit in your brain?
So I've been listening to music again. So the thing is, when you're really depressed, when you try to listen to music, just like nothing happens. It's just like, why are these people talking? It sucks. I've been listening exclusively now to just scummy Australian punk rock, mainly two bands, The Chats and Dune Rats. And
okay, you've been posting about Dune Rats.
Dude, I love Dune Rats.
Until yesterday when we talked about what are we going to do in episode 100, I thought that it was some kind of bit that I didn't understand about Dune, like about the movie.
No, it's these three boys that have never showered. It's just punk music. We talked about this before, how there's like two types of punk music where it's like
fuck Reagan is the one. Is the
fuck Reagan, and then that's important too. But the real stuff, the real important stuff, the stuff that I love the most, which is when you have a punk song that's about like fucking around on my bike and my friend Ted is there. Like that's what music's about. That's what punk music is about. And so Dune Rats and The Chats have really opened my eyes of just like, yes, this is why I like punk music. This is the shit. This is the dumb shit I want. I sent you this Chats lyric page, and I said this was the punk platonic ideal of lyrics, and can I read you them?
You sure can.
I'm the best person in the world. I'm the best person in the world. Everybody else looks like a pedo. I'm the best person in the world. I'm the best person in the world. Everybody else looks like a pedo, because I am so great, and you are so lame. I'm the best person in the world. I'm the best person in the world. Everybody else looks like a pedo. I'm the best person in the world. I'm the best person in the world. Everybody else looks like a pedo, because I am so great, and you are so lame. When I heard this for the first time, like, because I didn't, like, at first I was like, are they saying pedo? Like, what are they saying? And, like, when I realized that, like, the song was that dumb, I, like, felt like my cells, like, open up. Like, I got chi through me all of a sudden. I was like, oh, yeah, that's what this is about. That's what this medium is about. It's about stupid shit and people who can't sing. Yeah. It sounds great. And the other fun thing is I switched from Spotify to YouTube Music, and they both suck. It doesn't matter. But because I did the switch and I just started listening to music again, YouTube Music is just like, oh, it's the evening. What about Dune Rats? Are you getting up? Have you considered Dune Rats? And I'm not going to change it because it's just, give me it.
This is not super related, but I mean, part of Australian culture is that they say shit that's fucked. Like the first time that I heard that you were listening to Australian punk is you were listening to the chats, and
Yeah, they said
you were
smoko.
Like, yeah, they're always going on smoko, and coincidentally, my wife has on as background noise while she's working this Australian show about lifeguards. Like it's like a reality show where like they try to save people at their horribly dangerous beach. Sometimes people on the show die. It's fucked. But the names that they call each other are truly cursed and fucked up. And I actually have a list of them right now. These are some names that they call each other, and they don't comment on it. It's totally normal. Hapo, Dino, Tomo. If you called me Tomo, I would kill you. Whippet, Yak, Yatesy, Harry's, and my favorite, Chapo.
Is it like a term of endearment?
I don't know, dude. Whispers to dates, that's Chapo.
And the fun thing is, I don't like looking up most of these words when I hear these punk boys sing them. I'm just like, that's fun for them.
I mean, Joe, you know what it is? Is it something that we're going to get to in the next segment, which I think that we share this characteristic, which is there's not a lot of media that's just about like I'm a little guy. I'm like just a little guy going around doing my best. That's all I'll ever be. I'm just kind of chilling. Don't bug me. Like that's a lot of what we do, and I think that's what you get most out of the riding my bike with my friend Ted genre of punk music.
Yes, I'm just going around, and it's not going so great. Is generally the subtext.
Yup. Oh fuck. It's funny that you say that the subtext is and it isn't going so well, because you recently hit me with some fucking like real nightmare news. Real like brain. They're taking the few toys left out of our jars. So we're just gonna be brains in jars with no tubby toys. I've been looking at the same ducky for like a year and a half. They're gonna take the ducky away. Tell me about this. Tell the listeners about this horrible news.
I have a depression walk routine that keeps the darkness at bay, and I go to a cafe that is quite wonderful. And I haven't gone because the devil was winning the past few days, you know. I haven't been walking. Anyway, I got there today. It is now a corn dog place. It is Kong Dog. It's very hard not to say Kong Dong. And it really feels like it was like a little turtle in an aquarium, and they took away my heated rock and they gave me something not nearly as useful.
It is when I heard this news, like I wanted to like murder, like I wanted to hurt someone, because like I've been to this place.
It's
one
so
time.
wonderful. Like
it's gorgeous.
They have the reason why it's now a corn dog place instead of what it was is that the existing cafe probably had too much shit going on. But they had a very robust menu, wonderful sandwiches. They did a lot.
Good coffee, good. I had a macaron that was Earl Grey infused, and it had tea leaves on the top. It looked good. It tasted good. And I had a great time having coffee with my friend.
They had a wonderful chicken sandwich for lunch. They had Do Right Donuts, which are a very good donut brand in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
They were delivered, I believe, daily because they didn't make them there. And that was awesome because you could get these donuts even though you don't live by a Do Right location. That was awesome. It was also perfect for I need to get out of the house and I don't know what I want, but I'll just get there and figure out what I want because it did everything.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you get a coffee and nothing else. Like coffee is always going to be your baseline.
Am I going to do the same thing with a corn dog place? Will I just be like, I'll figure out when I get there? Because the answer is will probably still be a corn dog. And to be clear, I'm not saying the corn dog thing is a bad idea. It's fine.
I'm saying that it is awful. It is like it's another example of the death grift, dude. This is a thing no one could ever want. It makes no one's life better. Corn dog is fair food. Fair food is fair food for a reason. It's because it didn't make the fucking cut to be real.
I think it's like the elevated Korean style where they put like chips on the side, and I want my coffee. I miss my shop, man. And there's a Starbucks right next door, which I was so eager to support this other non-Starbucks place. So it makes sense from obviously the horrible business logic that rules everything around us that, yeah, you should diversify and not have a competing product against a huge monolith like Starbucks. You should, in fact, have something a little more streamlined and unique that you can give to all the college kids, which are everywhere. Like, it all makes sense to me. I totally get it. But I was a little guy, and I had my thing.
Yeah. They took your bike wheels away. Now what are you and Ted gonna do?
Yeah, I'm not gonna sing about it.
This bullshit hits especially hard for me because I used to have, this happened to me. Like, I had my coffee shop strangled in bed in front of me while I was tied to the door, and I couldn't help. My wife and I used to go to this coffee shop and bakery called La Farine that was a block and a half away from our house every single Saturday and Sunday morning for years. It was something that we would do every single weekend morning, even if we didn't feel like it, because we're feeling down, we're feeling depressed. Like, well, this is when we need most of all to make sure that we get out of the house, we go to this place, we get a change of scenery, we have some hours of the day to just talk to each other without screens, without, I have something to do, I have to do this, I have to do that. Just time for each other where we can be peaceful and be in a comfortable, sort of cozy public setting where we feel at ease. And it fucking closed, and it went away, and there was no other coffee shop near us. And then we moved, and the only coffee shop near us now is 3/4 of a mile away, and it is very small, and there is no seating. And obviously that's probably because it's COVID. There's very few seats inside. But the thing is, even if there wasn't, there's like no fucking space to sit down. It is exclusively a get and go coffee shop. The only other place near us is in like a strip mall, and we asked Kevin if it's big in there because it seemed like it was small, and he's like, no, it's bigger than it looks, it's cozy. And we went, it was small. It was exactly is the gym creepy or wet meme. It's wet. It's insane to me that like one of the things that people have liked doing the most for hundreds of years is going to coffee shops and hanging out and chilling. That's just not feasible anymore. Like it like somehow fucking Kong Dong's the corn dog shop is more likely to succeed than like, hey, do you want nice sandwiches and coffee and a comfortable environment? It's like, hell no, fuck that, kill that, give me some shit that sucks, give me NFTs.
Kong Dong is gonna print paper though, like it's gonna make so much money.
Yes. Time Out Chicago is gonna write a big thing about how Kong Dong is the best fucking corn dog in the city, and I'm gonna be like, what's the best funnel cake in the city? Oh, you can't get funnel cake in the city? I wonder why. It's because it's fucking fair food. It doesn't deserve it.
You know what also sucks is when it was in cafe mode before it corn dogified, the week prior they had seating again, because previously there wasn't seating. It was only like grab your shit and go because of the virus. So I sat down briefly and like looked at my phone as I ate my sandwich, and I was like, okay, this is the first time I had sat down in a coffee shop by myself, like since, the pandemic happened. I was like, all right, cool. This is good because they got Wi-Fi here. Maybe I can come here. Maybe I can get comfortable enough. And then two things happen. There's a new Greek word I got to be worried about, so I'm probably not going to go sit down in a restaurant. And two, it was a fake out. I'm not going to be sitting down in a corn dog place to do work.
Fuck. Folks, shit sucks. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. 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 Folks, that segment ostensibly about how the fact that there's no new brain input is making new episodes hard. I gotta tell you, it sure does seem possible like that might come across as like very dark and boding poorly for the future.
No, it's actually well, it is. You're right.
Yeah, but but I was setting you up to ensure folks that it doesn't mean we're thinking of like winding the show down. Like we're still gonna do the show. We love doing the show.
In fact, here's the other side of the coin. We brought all this up to say that this is the purpose of this is we're gonna try and like think about what new fun things we're gonna do, all that sort of stuff. But the other thing you can consider is how unhinged we would be if we were brains in jars for another Chicago winter and we didn't have this.
Yeah, Josh McVitie said on his Guesto Mode episode, like, oh, this show has really helped me through some hard times through the pandemic. Thank you guys. And it's like, oh, like, you're welcome, but like it mostly was to help us. Like like we're the ones that it helped. Like
Yes.
it was our little reed that we like stuck out of the swamp and could breathe through.
Mm-hmm. And there just happened to be a picnic on the shore clapping as the little reed bounced up and down.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like a ninja waiting to like shoot a blow dart at someone, except like we didn't get ninja trained. Like they actually told us wrong things as a joke. But we love the show. That's the point being, the show is like one of the most important things in at least my life. I don't know about you. I'm going to assume in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It has been a joy to do and a joy to like cultivate an audience of like people who give a shit. That's, I gotta say, that's one thing that like cannot be minimized or like or downplayed, I think, which is that, 2-3 years ago we were still trying to be creative people and we did not have yet like an audience of people who like we knew were gonna listen and like we knew were gonna like get it and appreciate it. Like I spent a lot of time writing and doing shit that nobody like got or appreciated.
You went to a lot of live lit shows that weren't your
God.
own, which maybe a waste of time. I don't know.
Oh, dude, the biggest waste of time. I went to so many shows, went up afterwards, been like, that was great. I would like to be a part of this. And they'd be like, oh, cool, send me an email. And I would send them an email, and, well, we're here now. And I never went on the show. Like, it's so fucking, it's crazy making to try to, like, do creative shit as no one. And, like, you're just yelling at no one. And it's a nightmare.
You go to person, or at least it feels like it, and you're like, will you look at me? Will you look at me? And then when everyone says no, freak, because
like, who are you? Like, like, don't knock on my door again.
Yeah, exactly.
But now, like, holy shit, like, like, the loop is closed. It all is happening as I once hoped it would. Where like the circuit is complete. I have an instinct. I must make a thing. I got an idea for a funny thing. I must make a thing. I spend a lot of effort making the thing. I make it as funny as I can. Oh boy. I put it out into the world. And normally this is where the circuit would end. And I would, my brain would take great amounts of damage. And I would have to eat a cookie. But now, people are like, that's great. Another banger, Tom. You hit it out of the park once again. Woohoo. And my brain goes nuts with extremely good chemicals. And then I eat a cookie anyway, because why would I deny myself in this moment of triumph?
It feels good to be able to make stuff and not have to worry about the part where you dangle yourself for attention. Like that part is just kind of like out of the equation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, obviously, if we wanted to, like, become growth mindset guys and, like, make this our full-time job and, like, make a lot of money off of it, that would be, like, we would right now be feeling like, we're so bereft. Like, we're not where we need to be. But, like, I don't, like, it'd be nice if that happened. But, like, let's be real, it won't. So, like, currently, like, where we're at is, like, ideal. And, like, if we can get another 100 episodes of the current scenario, like of the current circuit, if we can like the circuit go around 100 more times, like hell yeah, like I'd be insane not to do that.
Yeah, and to me, what does that mean? It means episodes that touch on the core premise of the show, and then scattered throughout stuff where we got goofy. We did some weird off the beaten path stuff. That would be ideal to me.
Yeah, I agree. And, we've made some abstract allusions to our audience. But Joe, did you know that I went on a little mission to gather testimonials from our closest sicko homies? And would you be willing to let me share some of them with you right now?
Yeah, hit me.
Alrighty. So, a few of these came as actual recorded fucking sound from our homies. They recorded little testimonials for us, and I think the first one we got to play is from one of our first guestos, one of my dearest friends, one of the funniest and most creative people I know. She really is just a one of a kind of person, Erica Dreisbach. Here's what she had to say.
What's up, Anime Sickos? This is Erica Dreisbach, your old friend. Anime Sickos is my favorite podcast and the favorite podcast of my kid, who is 2 years old. When I hand this tiny digital native my iPhone, within moments, I know I will hear the bumping beat and clarion vuvuzelas of the Anime Sickos theme. And when Tom and Joe start talking with the opening, announcements, notes, sketch, I know I will see my kid holding the phone and grinning. This is your power. This is your reach. Congratulations. I love you. Bye-bye.
We are going to get given hemlock. Like, we deserve it.
Because we got too close to the truth?
No, we're corrupting the youth. We're going Socrates mode. Erica's kid is one of the cutest entities that has ever been.
That's a really cute kid.
Oh, and to know that he's hearing us, you know what it is? He's taken in by the cartoon faces of our hideous caricatures. Oh no! Thank you, Erica. Very kind. That was incredible. We got more. So you think that's all? You fool.
It'd be kind of funny if it was.
Yeah, I've kind of built it up. Our next one, we have a delightful testimonial. Testimonial, that doesn't sound like the right word. Congratulatory message from Angela Quinton, one of our great homies. Again, one of the best Guesto episodes. A really meaningful one about what it means to be a living person and how to find joy in this fucked earth. Here's Angela's statement for our 100th episode.
I started listening to Anime Sickos back in its infancy when it was just the podcast my Twitter pals were talking about that had the acid green show art featuring two wild-eyed cartoon maniacs. I didn't understand what the show was, but I would instinctually reach for it when I wanted a devilish little treat for myself, like a handful of jelly beans from the cupboard at 3 a.m. In the 2 years since, the show's place in my life has evolved from forbidden candy into sustenance as nourishing as bread, coffee, or whatever dish you can make in Breath of the Wild that gives you the most bonus hearts. You've introduced me to games, books, and thought technologies I would never have considered otherwise, and you've helped me feel sane and connected during a profoundly fucked time in the world. Thanks so much for the show, you maniacs, and congratulations on 100 episodes.
What was I telling you, dude? That people reach for the cartoon. The cartoon, it's an instinct. You got to get the treat.
And we're on wizard mode.
We on that wizard mode.
On that wizard mode, yes.
Holy shit, Angela. One of the kindest things anyone's ever said to us. Incredible stuff. Thank you so much. Joe, this next one, this is something that I haven't actually heard in advance. It's from James Medley. Medley, one of our good buds. You've known him for years and years. One of our first guestos. And I saw that the title of this attachment was the Sicko protest song. And I'm like, holy shit, did Medley send us a song? I played it for a second to confirm, yeah, this shit's a song. And then I didn't listen to it, so we could both listen to it for the first time now. Here it goes.
Anime Sickos, the only podcast in the world. 100 episodes to make you laugh until you hurl. Anime Sickos, the only podcast in the world. If they make enough might make it after all. Even though the world will be on fire and the bankers will all live in space, we'll form a roaming band of sickos, happy to have our place. I'm just a piggy and I need my slop. I'm not your goddamn Funko Pop, no. Anime Sickos, the only podcast fit for building guillotines to. Anime Sickos, the only podcast Lightning McQueen listens to. Anime Sickos, the only podcast the literal queen has ever knighted. Sir, Anime Sickos is the only podcast that could make us feel delighted. Even when the world will be on fire and more people reign supreme, we'll form a roaming band of sickos. Together we all can scream, I'm just a piggy and I need my slop. I'm not your goddamn Funko Pop. Happy 100 episodes, boys. It's good work. Keep it up.
Oh, yeah. That's the stuff.
Well, doesn't that just make it all worth it? Holy fuck. Oh my god.
I love a group chorus. A big ol' sounding like a bunch of people yelling something.
Yeah. That's Ted in the background.
Mm-hmm.
On his bike. Wow, oh my god. Medley. Holy
Wonderful
fuck.
job. Thank you.
That was incredible. He threw that shit together in very little time. That's, wow. Holy moly. We got some more. More. Though there's no more that are recorded. The rest I'm going to read out loud, if that's okay with y'all. Our next one's from Matthew Marquez. Marquez is, as we've mentioned on this episode, the last episode we recorded before the event was Marquez's guest appearance, which an incredible one.
He didn't cause the plague, but it coincided.
We did talk about. You do a cog talk about how awkward it is to go and call in sick to work, which really, in retrospect, tempted fate. But here's what Marquez has to say. Hey, sickos. Marquez here. I'm still crawling. Congrats on having 75 episodes after I ruined everything by talking about getting sick right before the event. Well, okay. Mind meld, dude. Keep suffering for the numbies, and thank you for all that you do. You're welcome, and thank you, Marquez, for being a homie.
Thank you.
Next one is from Rain Clar, excellent guesto and designer of half of our stickers that you can buy at animesickos.com/store. Congratulations, Joe and Tom, on 100 episodes. You're descending to the next circle of podcast hell. I'm sure you'll both be very comfortable. This is my favorite podcast. It is the only podcast. I've learned things from both hosts and guestos, made great friends in the Discord, and have almost crashed my vehicle from laughter more times than I can count. Pause. Sidebar here. People keep saying that they like hit cars with their car while they're listening to the show because they're laughing so much. This is just my personal opinion. I don't like
Keep it up.
Like, that
Keep it
sucks
up.
shit.
Keep it up. Yeah, you got to get a crash multiplier.
No. For me, every time I hear that, I'm just like, oh no, like don't listen to it in the car. Don't, no. But apparently, Joe thinks we're in burnout paradise.
I want to get a gold medal, but people never tell us what joke almost caused it.
Okay, you've convinced. I'm over on your side now. If they told us what joke it was caused the property damage,
yeah, you'd be
then
fine
I'd be cool.
with the destruction. You just need a citation.
Yeah, well, you know what it is it becomes something that all creative people want, which is like really cogent and like useful feedback. Like a lot of feedback is like, I loved it. It's like, okay, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? But like if I know that like a certain joke made you hit a car, then like I can use that. Anyway, continuing back with Rain's statement. There is no way to talk about this show without admitting it is simply two very smart and funny guys who are friends, talking about shit they love and hate. But you boys do it so well. You find ways to articulate the frustration and joy of modern life in ways that make us hoot and holler. You are brave identifiers and guardians of the four pillars, shouting warnings from the mouth of the caves. Thank you, sickos.
I don't agree with the smart part. We made it quite clear. We don't know anything. We are gawking at Objects as they move by is what we are.
And Joe, isn't knowing that the greatest wisdom of all?
No, I'm dumb as shit. I don't know how to do anything.
Yeah, I realized. I just sort of knew halfway through the sentence that I was reaching, but
Yeah, the question you asked was like, would you rather know how to do stuff or not?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, yeah, no, we're very stupid. But thank you, Rain, anyway, for your kind words. We got a bunch also from our people on Twitter. We asked, like, what makes the show special to you? And we got some great Twitter responses. Here's one from Whitney Reynolds, another Guesto mode goer, a great person who we loved having on, and we appreciate listening to the show. They have to say this. Anime Sickos podcast made me start watching anime again, for which it can never be forgiven, but also rewired my brain to understand the machine that will have blood, the sicko mindset, and made me want a crime Game Boy. I am an obedient hog, and I love getting my dick snucked.
When you write us and tell us that we made you watch anime, it feels like you just told us, I'll kill and I'll kill again.
What I thought you would say is like, it sounds like, hey, I started drinking again. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I'm only going to do it socially. It's fine.
Thank you, Whit. That is a very kind thing to say. And you are right to want a crime Game Boy. We were talking about no new input. The reason the crime Game Boy caused us so much joy is because it was new input. It was like the only... Having the crime Game Boy like gives you provable evidence that like tomorrow you will be able to have some stimulus that you didn't have before.
You know what the crime Game Boy was?
What?
I'm gonna ask you, Tom. Have you ever been at the zoo when a diaper has been in? Tom, have you ever been at the zoo when a diaper has been thrown into the monkey enclosure? Because that was what the crime Game Boy was. I mean, it could be a cigarette too, just something to really get them all worked up. That's what the crime Game Boy was.
Yeah, it was. Because on like any given day, the chance that like tomorrow will hold something new to look forward to is like a coin flip at best. With the crime Game Boy, I'm like, I have like 3,000 games at like probably more like 5,000 games on this. That's 5,000 days covered.
Yeah.
Fuck. This is another incredibly kind thing from Davin Pavlas. If I pronounce your name wrong, whoopsie. I like when a show has editing. I just love how those sickos will hit delete. Most other podcasts are cowards without scissors.
I love making my voice go away. It's so good.
Yeah, dude. The thing about the human voice and speaking, and you'll notice this if you listen to other podcasts, is that like a third of the time you biff it so fucking hard. And normally if you're just talking in real time, your brain sort of mushes it over. It doesn't notice that the person just biffed it. But when you're listening to a podcast and it's just like etched in stone for posterity, every biff sounds like you're the biggest dumbass of all time. And so that was one of our great breakthroughs early on, which is like, if you biff it, say it a second time and I'll cut it out. No one does this.
Which is also why Rain mentioning that we sound smart is the lie. It's all smoke and mirrors.
It's true. But in a way, no, I'm not even going to ask that fucking... It's going to be exactly the same answer. You're going to wait a beat and say no. Here's another one from at Flinnet_E. I can't even describe how much self-affirmation and feeling more in touch with other people in the world this podcast has given me. For example, how one's always treated like a baby when asking for anything at a counter, and how it's impossible to have a beautiful psychologist. Beautiful any doctor. Anytime that someone is like gonna help you medically and is hot, you're just like, oh no.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Guesto Chuck once told me that he had vertigo, and he was just like couldn't stand up and he was vomiting constantly. And when he went to get treated, the doctor was a very pretty woman. He was just like puking and dizzy. He was like, I'm fine. I'm good.
Chuck owns. And speaking of Chuck gave us a fucking little note to read. he says that the show is special to me because even though he was reading it from paper slips I provided, Tom did call me smart and hot, and there's recorded proof I can use out of context. Well, Chuck, I'll say it now without reading it from a slip. This MF-er Chuck Rios, he's not only a genius, but he's extremely beautiful.
A handsome guy who knows a lot about Dragon Ball.
You say that we forget a lot of the old episodes. That was something that I did forget until he brought up the slips of paper. That he brought a fucking bag from home that had slips of paper from third graders from fucking 25 years ago, where all of them independently, when asked to describe Chuck, said smart, likes the Bears, likes Dragon Ball. And it's just like, oh my God.
Yes. The papers were stored in what was clearly a wine paper bag with the Chicago Bears logo drawn on it, clearly by Chuck when he was in third grade. It's awesome.
Oh, fuck. I love this one from Rear Admiral Chaco. I was absolutely hooked last week within 15 minutes. The reasoning for anime being good, but also if you like it uncritically, you're a monster, rung truer than anything else I've ever heard. And here's the next sentence is what I really like. My wife and I will not stop chanting big Naruto fight in Boruto.
That to me was like the nugget that really solidified that this is dumb. Like you can just like, if you're thinking about anime too hard, just go back to that subject, which is correct. Like that happened. Like there was a big Boruto fight in Naruto. So stop trying to think about the medium in a grandiose way.
Yeah. Okay. That's the thing that doesn't happen with Mr. Robot. No one's ever like big Naruto fight in Mr. Robot. Instead, it's just like, on this episode, it's all done without dialogue, and yet you don't notice. It isn't until near the end that you realize you haven't heard a spoken word of dialogue in the entire hour of TV. Why you've been so taken by the cinematography. And it's like, fuck that. No, big Naruto fight in Boruto. I will say that one thing that really is edifying, and a lot of these statements from people saying why this show was special to them really do make me feel like this was worth doing. It makes me feel like fulfilled. But the thing that really warms my heart is that there are so many people out there who, when they see a blatant engagement trap post, like the one I posted here to get all these replies, so many of them will simply respond, Anime Sickos Podcast.
It's so good, especially when it's clearly, you just ignore the meme. You're not really reading.
For those of you who don't follow us on Twitter, there's a bunch of podcast accounts that I followed that are constantly posting the most infuriatingly bird-brained engagement traps. It's like, podcasters, how would you describe your podcast in one condiment? And I started a bit where I would just respond to every single one of them with Anime Sickos Podcast and nothing else. And buddy, it's the funniest thing. It only gets more funny because more and more people start doing it. And eventually, when people see the Sickos Twitter account respond to shit with Anime Sickos Podcast, they start hooting and retweeting it and liking it so much that it becomes like more popular than the original engagement trap post, and it's like the most popular response to it.
Yeah. It's also fun when people do it about pictures that are just like two guys standing next to each other.
Yeah. Let me read one more from our people who responded, who didn't just write Anime Sickos Podcast. The people who did write Anime Sickos Podcast are the real heroes, but also Mark Hazier is the real hero. Am I right, Joe, in thinking that Mark Hazier is related to John and Mike Hazier?
That is John Hazier's little brother, also a scientist brain guy.
Holy shit! What is the deal with this family? Like, how come none of them are fucked up? Anyway, they're all killing it. Mark has this to say: "It has evolved my lexicon in the worst and best possible ways. It's a reminder that there are rad people out there doing cool shit and not just being ground to a fine bone dust after their blood has been entirely drained to the machine."
The bad news is the machine likes bone dust now.
Yeah, the machine likes bone dust. But this is what I was saying, Joe, about how like one of the things about the show that I think is valuable is that it's just like, hey, we're little guys who are going around. We're kind of like, we're just around. Like, that's all we are. We're just two dudes.
Yes. You did a tweet of like top podcasts to look out for this year, and everything looked like friggin' homework. And the thing is, the reason everything seems like homework is because all of it hinges on I am a smart person giving you information, which is not what we're doing. We're little guys going around. It's not going great.
Yeah. We're doing our best. They keep taking away our toys. It's very scary. The thing of, you know what it is, Joe, is it's death grift. It's death grift again. Not Death Grips the band, Death Grift the thing. The reason those fucking homework podcasts are so highly regarded and are constantly being fucking recommended by big publications is because they're all like, listen to this mindset podcast to discover billionaire habits. It's like, this is fucking fake. Like, anything that will make you wealthy or like increase your money is by necessity involves you learning how to do shit that sucks and doesn't help anyone and actually hurts people. So all of these podcasts that are trying to tell you how to do that are death grift, and obviously that's why they're succeeding. Also sucks.
Also, all the podcasts that we're talking about aren't even like coming in touch with your inner artist. It's just like how to crush it with your small business.
Yeah, fuck that. Here's one. Okay. This is a theme I've seen come up again and again, which I'm really glad is the case. You know how in Ava, when the brain waves of the pilot match the ones of the Ava and Nerve hoots and hollers over it? Mm-hmm. Same thing happened to me when Dude Time came up, and no other podcast has brought that energy. I'm so happy that Dude Time's not just me, dude.
Winnie calls it Dude Time for herself, too. She's like, I need Dude Time.
It's true. Like, we recently went, we didn't know about the Omicron yet, to visit my sister in Seattle. The whole family went over for Thanksgiving. And, like, my wife and I were, like, getting stressed over the trip. Not because, like, oh, Thanksgiving stress, who's going to talk about Trump at the table? Like, we didn't think that was going to happen. It didn't. It was all chill. Like, the thing that we were stressed about is, like, we're not going to have our dude time. Like, how are we going to have any HP if we don't have dude time? It was like a legitimate concern, and it's one of those things that's like, I'm sure it's impossible to tell any of my family members about it. I can't be like, one thing that might happen to us is we might be a little strung out because we didn't get our dude time. Like, how's that going to work? It simply won't.
We won't be able to make it to dinner because we have to sit side by side and stare at our phones for 2 hours.
Yeah. My wife needs to fulfill a lot of requests from Animal Crossing people who want houses designed for them. And I got to play Castlevania Bloodlines for the 10th time. I might get through it without using the rewind function this time.
Well, I liked hearing all this. This makes me feel good. It's cool hearing the responses to this dumb project because, like, well, there's like no physical audience because it's just me getting in front of my computer. So like the responses seem disconnected and completely unrelated to the words I was yammering into a microphone when I started this, 2 years ago.
But they're not. It is connected, Joe. It's
true. It is.
It is really, yeah. And I think as much as this is a very self-indulgent, self-congratulatory episode, it's 100. What other one could we like? It's the one where we're allowed. If you don't like stop and like focus on it, it's very hard to make that connection. But like, yeah, it's for me, it's so gratifying to know. Like my whole life, I've been like, no, I am really funny. Like, I know all the evidence suggests otherwise. I know that everyone's telling me not, but, like, I swear to God, I am. Like, I I totally, like, I know what I'll do. I'll write up something. I'll do a little project. And then everyone will be like, this sucks shit. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I must have just done it wrong. And, like, to know that there was one point where I was just like, Joe, when we talk, it's so funny. It's, like, one of the funnier things around. I bet that people would like it. Even though it's fucking a two guys talking podcast, the most crowded and, frankly, inherently terrible of all the genres of podcast, I knew that it would still somehow transcend it and to be good enough. Because I knew, like, I know that it is good. And I'm right. Like, I've been right all along. And that kicks ass.
You've been right all along. It's just that there's been a lot of people along the way saying, get out of here, clown boy. What are you doing? Your words aren't funny. You know, that sort of thing. But you were right. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Joe, and I got to say, I'm going to get emotional on the pod now, on the recording. It's been such a joy and a privilege to be able to yammer with you for 100 episodes. I would have yammered with you without the show, as is indicated by all the years of yammering we did before we started it. But, like, I can't imagine someone who I'd rather be doing this kind of shit with. You make me a lot funnier and a better creator and person.
You have definitely made me much more targeted in, like, execution of joke stuff. Like, obviously, I still have my I get a weird idea, and I'm like, how do we fit this in? But even at work, sometimes I'm, like, doing something, and I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, my God, am I planning with the end in mind? My friend, Tom, taught me this technique.
Hell yeah. I'm glad to have done it. Fuck. This has been nice.
Yeah, this is great. This is also a stabilizing force, too, especially, like, I've brought it up. Like, depression was bad, but it was you know, I don't know if you ever read about Frasier, the filming of it, how, like, Kelsey Grammer was just, like, very drunk. Sometimes it was like that, but instead of drunk, I was just, like, sad. It's, like, ready to go, and it was, like, on. And then we're like, all right, Tom, have a good one. And then I just, like, roll over in the chair. But that was crucial in getting my sea legs, a.k.a. my regular working brain legs. Yeah.
Glad I could help out in whatever way I could. And, folks, that's all the time we have for Anime Sickos for our 100th episode. I swear that the next one will spend less time talking about ourselves and the show.
I will say I didn't suggest this to you because if it was becoming apparent we didn't know what we're going to do for the 100, I was going to suggest we should just do 101, and then when we think of the episode for the 100, we just go back to it.
Okay, Joe, that's a good idea, but it's too good because the McElroys already did that for episode 420.
Now they're going to start a cult.
I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I've been Joe, an Anime Sicko.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.